Hello, Stephen Graham Jones here. And first and most important, happy birthday to Sadie Hartman. Thank you for organizing this, for getting us all together to do it. It's fun. I'm going to read from a short story of mine, Attack of the 50-Foot Indian. And we're probably about a third of the way in through it right here. What you need to know is there's this Indian dude, 2 Moons. He's 50 feet tall. He's been captured by the government, and he's tired of being captured. Here we go. 2 Moons had had enough. Holding his shoulder together with his right hand, he tore an I-beam up from the rubble of the hangar with his left. Still unsteady, he swatted at the bothersome fighters, catching 2 of them hard enough that they crashed over into the other 3, the whole squadron spiraling off into the foothills. 2 Moons looked down to his shoulder now and to the blood on his palm, and his breath deepened. As if just realizing this was a possibility, he stood to his full height and scanned as far as he could see for more of these fighters. There were none for the moment, but there were small dirt plumes coming at him from all directions. Jeeps and armored vehicles, whatever the military could rally and scrounge. They'd all been at the perimeter to turn news vans and conspiracy theorists and the bride brigade around. 2 Moons was supposed to have been sleeping for a week yet. He was all the way awake now, though. Where had he come from? That didn't matter anymore. What mattered was where he was going. His first step was to the east, his eyes scouring, lips turned down at the corners in what looked like disgust. Oh shit, a quarterback who wasn't even supposed to be in the room said, "Can he see Rushmore from there?" "He's going for the White House," a movie critic tweeted out, illustrating it with a GIF. "Not the White House, you idiots," a former Texas Ranger, current congressman said, slamming his fist down on a control board. "Can't you see he's going for the white women?" "You mean you keep them all in one place?" the co-translator asked, half buried under concrete and rebar, his right arm either hugging or sleeper holding a Comanche translator. Neither of them really knew anymore. Either way, they weren't stopping. Neither was the military. Another squadron of fighters boiled up over the horizon. The lead pilot authorized to, at this remote location, take the nuclear option, sacrifice this whole facility and its future to neutralize the threat 2 Moons obviously was. Seeing this second wave of fighters screaming in at him, 2 Moons did what any giant would do. He turned around, ran away. His great strides and his zigzag path took him out of range of the fighters and ground vehicles in a matter of seconds. The lead pilot thumbing the cover back over his fire button with a sigh of relief. The Cherokee princess grandmother in his head thanking him with a tragic nod, his self-assigned spirit animal giving him a brotherly thumbs up from its litter box. "We winged the shit out of him, though," a talk show host said into his live feed, a rabid glitter to his eyes. "How's that for a Drummond, Tonto?" a cowboy in a bar said into his mug, using what he considered his gunfighter voice. Then looking around, hoping someone not 50 feet tall had heard this perfect comeback. "What can 2 Moons hide behind, right?" the internet asked, supplying a flood of doctored images in response. 2 Moons peeking around the Great Pyramid of Giza. 2 Moons holding his breath to slink into the Marianas Trench. 2 Moons standing wooden Indian still over the entrance to the Wisconsin State Fair, hand raised in greeting, eyes looking nowhere. The government didn't contribute any images to this trending question, but they agreed with the sentiment. Where could he hide? Assured they could triangulate 2 Moons with seismography data, the military sat back and waited for those printouts to coalesce into a bullseye. Indians walk softly when they need to, though. Next were various stealth planes making high-altitude passes with thermometric and infrared scanners built into their sleek bellies. But one old Indian trick is using cool river mud as body plaster. Spotters and helicopters were next and had to work, but the social media outcry about the irony of using helicopters named Apache and Lakota and Blackhawk generated enough public outcry that those spotters were all reluctantly grounded. Now that the public was involved, though, the military could call to them for sightings. But first, the tip line boards melted in under 30 minutes. And second, by the time those tip lines were restored, a grassroots campaign to protect 2 Moons' location had swelled up. The result was that he was in Florida, in Texas, in Maine, in Baja California. He was Frankensteining from ice floe to ice floe, disappearing into the great north. He was swimming freestyle along the coast of Chile. The government isn't completely stupid, however. They zeroed in on where the tip line was careful to never mention: Washington State, specifically the Puget Sound region. Along the way, videos were surfacing of 2 Moons from low angles, walking a determined line west, the high-tension power lines, electric fences to him, herding him again and again to the highways and interstates, which were probably easier walking anyway. He was moving mostly at night and drinking from rivers and streams. The Giardia protozoa too small to be of consequence to his massive immune system. And evidently what he was subsisting on was rage and recrimination. When interviewed on whether that was a sustainable traditional diet, a Shoshone elder looked into the camera and shrugged, said it had kept him going for 88 years so far, hadn't it? The snapshot of Two Moons that went the widest was, of course, the one showing the war paint he had dragged across his face. Because it was plundered from a highway crew's supplies, half his face was bright yellow, half of it tar black, and there were reflective bursts of white all over his torso and arms and thighs. Probably, the ethnographers opined, in keeping with a hard-earned vision that had great personal meaning to him. Either that or it looks cool, the world said back, sloping out the door to the skate park, the mall, the malt shop. By this point, every Indian nation in America was painting themselves like Two Moons and piling into cars of every make and model to caravan to the Northwest. Gas stations replaced their hot dog carousels with fry bread displays and quietly moved their pouches of Red Mint under the counter and taped up signs about having to pay before you pump, please. Not many Indians did. They were in too much of a rush. The story was that Two Moons was going to force his great fingers down into the base of a certain holy mountain, grab on hard and flip the whole thing over, releasing all the salmon or the buffalo or all the maize and squash and beans, and it would wash across America from sea to shining sea, re-ending it up once and for all, the way it always should have been. The non-Indians wore the same paint, though they drove nicer cars usually. The real Indians waved them into the convoy. This was for everyone. Thank you. And thank you, Sadie Hartman, and happy birthday.